Alright, so we're gonna be playing Agree to Disagree BookTok version. So if you haven't seen this done, it's basically, I have a list of topics. I have it on my iPad here. All the agree, it says agree, sort of agree, neutral, sort of disagree, and disagree. And so that's gonna be up over here on the side of me so you can see, and I'll just write down where they go. So at the end we should have a filled in chart. Hopefully I have enough space for everything. I mean, let's get started. Okay, first we have series, just in general. And when I say series, I'm not meaning companion series, that's coming later. It's just like a series where it's the same characters in all of the books and you have to read all of them to get the whole complete story. And for that, I am going to say sort of agree. I love series. I just finished the Throne of Glass series and I really did have a great time reading that one. But I think overall, I am a full-time college student and during the school year, I do not like to read series. I don't want to invest that much of my time in that. And also, I read most of my books from the online library and I don't want to wait for all those holds. So I am more of a companion series or a standalone person where I can pick it up and put it back down fairly easily. And it's just one story and I get my ending at the end of the one book. But I really do love series and those are something that I'll seek out in the summertime. Next we have multiple multiple point of view chapters or books. And I do really enjoy this, especially in romances, because I really like getting both sides of the romance. You know what both characters are thinking, and you get one that's like, oh, I love her, and you really get to see, like, if it's guy falls first, which is a trope that I enjoy, you really get to see that, like, them falling for each other and like the true reciprocation of it, which I really enjoy with multiple POV. And I like when both point of views are first person, like each alternating chapters. Like, let's say there's a character named Anna, she has the first chapter, and then Bryce has the second chapter, and I really like when it's done that way. Multiple point of view with like an omniscient narrator, not as much, but I like it enough that it goes in the agree category. Next we have BookTok, and I feel like I have to agree with this one because I'm on BookTok. I'm just gonna shamelessly plug my BookTok right now. But yes, I do like BookTok. I think that BookTok often runs with certain ideas and themes and authors way too much, yes, but I think it's a good space to like just kind of talk about books and find new people that also like books, and I do really enjoy being on it. Okay, this one is long chapters. I do not like long chapters. I would much rather have, I just spelled chapters completely wrong actually. I would much rather have, then I lost my train of thought. I don't like long chapters, is what I was saying. I would much rather have like 100 short chapters than 50 long chapters. They're just, I don't know, it makes it go quicker, but I don't actually even notice the chapters too much when I'm reading. But there will be some books where I'm reading and they're long chapters and I get like halfway through the chapter and I'm like, when is it over? Those are books I often DNF. Okay, accidental pregnancy is on here next. Yeah, I hate this one. I don't like it. If I go into the book knowing that they're gonna get pregnant, okay, I did that to myself. If it's something that just shows up 2/3 of the way through and that's the reason the couple gets together, no thank you. No thank you. I will be DNFing your book with my sincerest apologies because it's just not for me. Okay, the next we have is the Fae. Just altogether as an entity, do I like books with Fae and Fae romances? And Some is the only thing I can say. That's why it's in sort of agree, because some of them are really well done. Like I just finished Throne of Glass. Well done. I think the Fae in the Cruel Prince series is well done. And so there's ones like that where I'm like, yes, give it to me. But others where it's just not. It's not something I would seek out. Or if I go and read that book, it's not well enough done for me to actually enjoy it. Okay, the next we have is Enemies to Lovers. That has to go up here. I really do like Enemies to Lovers. Especially when it's like the kind of thing where it's like, who did this to you? I love those scenes. Or they're supposedly enemies and he goes and takes care of her when she's sick or gets hurt or something. Or love those. That's all. Mafia. These are going to be our first neutral, because me and Mafia romances, sometimes I have to be in the right mindset, and it is not often that I am. And after I've read them, I'm like, it was only okay. I didn't really like it, so they're definitely neutral. I'll read some of them. Do I really enjoy them? No. Do I really hate them? No. They're very neutral to me. Romance in general. I love romance. That's all I have to say. They're so fun. They're so fun. I love them so much. Okay, smut. We're gonna sort of agree with smut. Books can be better without it. Like, I would say that the Throne of Glass series is not spicy. Phenomenal read, and I would highly recommend it. After you get past like the first 2 books, it starts, for me, I started really enjoying it around Queen of Shadows and Heir of Fire, like in that area. But truly, it doesn't. I do enjoy reading books with smut occasionally. They're fun sometimes. Sometimes you just need some of that spice, but it's not something that's necessary in books, and that's why only I'm sort of agreeing, because yeah, you can put it in and your book can still be good, but I don't want to read a book that is 90% smut with no plot. Plot wins out for me over smut, unless I go into it looking for just some spice, which is occasionally. This one is companion series. I really do like companion series. I think we're gonna run out of space in the agree category, but me and companion series get along because, like I said, I'm a full-time college student, and I will read like the first book in the companion series, and then I'm able to put in a hold for the next one and go on to read something else without like being left on a cliffhanger, or just like not committing myself to like a 5-book series, 7-book series, which makes it a lot harder for me to get into. I also really enjoy in companion series, especially romance companion series, where it's like one couple is one book and then the next couple is the next book, and you get to see that first couple pop up in the second book, and it's such an enjoyable experience when they make a cameo. This one is going to be BookTok books. We're going to sort of disagree. And by BookTok books, I mean books that are way overhyped by BookTok, like way overhyped. There are some that deserve the hype. I would say Sarah J. Maas's works deserve the hype. Well, I've only read Throne of Glass, but I'm gonna start ACOTAR soon. But I would say Throne of Glass does deserve its hype. But there are some where like you see a TikTok on it and somebody's like, this was the best book ever. The one that comes to mind for me that I really just could not get into, I tried 4 times. It was Serpent and Dove, and then also, I don't remember. But Serpent and Dove was one of the big ones that was like very pushed on BookTok, and I was like, well, I'll give it a try. Oh, From Blood and Ash. Yeah. No, I couldn't get into either of those, and I tried multiple times, and it just wasn't for me. So I think BookTok often, the things that TikTok pushes and that I see a lot of on BookTok are not always, they're all of the exact, like, I don't know how to say this. they're all very similar. Like, it, not like plot-wise and not necessarily character-wise, but they're all the same type of book. You don't see BookTok pushing any mysteries, which I do love a good mystery every once in a while. And you need something to break up all the romance. You can't ever have everyone be happy. Sometimes you have to have someone die. But yeah, so that's one that that gets to me. That's why it's in Sort of Disagree. I take the recommendations from BookTok with a grain of salt. That's why it took me so long to get into Sarah J. Maas. I was like, well, they're probably just being overhyped. Anyway, next we have annotating. A writing pause. I'm neutral on annotating. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I mean, I don't do it, but if you do it, that's fine, as long as you don't do it to my copy of the book. Fantasy. This one is a sort of agree. I almost spelled it wrong. I had to sound it out. This one's a sort of agree because some fantasy can be really, really well done and just so, you get sucked into this new world and the world building isn't overly done, and some of it's really well done and some of it's very poorly done. I've read some bad fantasy in my day where it's just like, yeah, no, this doesn't work. It doesn't work. Not at all. So I only sort of agree with fantasy. I do love to read it, but it has to be good fantasy, and it's not always good fantasy. Okay, I'm referencing my list. Oh. This next one is Sarah J. Maas. Well, SJM. I sort of agree with her, because I've only read the Throne of Glass series, and while I very much enjoyed that, I don't know how much of, like, I don't know if I'm gonna like the rest. And like, there are other books out there. People's like, oh, there's nothing that's gonna measure up, and there's nothing that's gonna be compared to Sarah J. Maas's works. And personally, and I might get hate for this, I think there is. There are things I've read, especially at different points in my life, that I have liked, if better, if not the same, probably the same, if not better, is the correct phrase. I just said it wrong. And I think it all depends on when you read it. A lot of people, because Sarah J. Maas is so overhyped, I wouldn't say overhyped, she's so hyped on TikTok and on like literally every platform out there. She, her books are the things people read when they first get back into reading or first get into reading for the first time. And I think a lot of people end up with like a nostalgic feeling around them, and it was just, I think they're a good thing to get into when you're first starting to read or you're getting back into reading, because they're very gripping and you just want to know what happens to your characters, like the characters that you love in these books, which I definitely related to when I read Throne of Glass, and I can see why it's so overhyped. But like, the whole Throne of Glass series was not it. Like, all of it, no. I really enjoyed 4 out of 7 books. Well, I enjoyed 4 out of 7. I really enjoyed probably 3 out of 7. So those are not, like, it was good. Overall, it was good, and I enjoyed it, and I would recommend it. But the first 2 books, they were just not it. They were not it. I had a really hard time continuing the series, especially after reading the first one. I was like, this is... So, Friends to Lovers. That one is neutral. I don't love it, I don't hate it. It has to be done right. So, ends up in neutral. And then Workplace Romance. Same thing, actually. I don't love it, I don't hate it, but it has to be done right. Anyway, that is all of my, we went through my whole list, and those are all the things I was going to agree to disagree on. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you had an enjoyable time, and I know some of you might come for me over Sarah J. Maas, so feel free to leave me a comment and explain why you love her so much and her books, if you do, or why you don't, because we're gonna hope this is a safe space. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I suppose I'll see you soon.